Hey there friends, how's it going? I'm Popeye, and today we've got some Umineko for you. I'll start off by saying there will probably be some spoilers for Higurashi in this. Canonically, they're not in the same world. I disagree with that, but that is the canonical statement from the developer. And just like Higurashi has a bunch of trigger warnings, which I will go through. It has, and there might be more than this, but there will be murder, dismemberment, blood, gore, all of that against a minor. I think the only difference is I don't think there's any sexual assault in this, but there might be. So there might be trigger warnings for sexual assault as well. But yeah, this game is divided into, well, first of all, there's 2 games. So with Higurashi, there's 8 games, and each game is a self-contained game on Steam. With Umineko, what they did is they divided it into 2 games and split it into the questions and the answers. So this is the questions art game, which is still, once I click start here, you can see there are still episodes. So this would have been each game for the first 4 games in Higurashi. You have not spammed my email, Sam says. I did check that. I did not get any of them. Unless I guess you've added me to a specific issue. But yeah. So Higurashi kind of took place in a village. This one takes place on an island. It's a family reunion. So the only people there are the family, servants because they're rich, and that's about it. And then a big storm happens, and usual shenanigans happen. Correct, or at least my default settings mean I don't get notifications. The only email I've gotten from you is when you added me to the repository. That's the only email I've gotten. Alright, so episode 1 is Legend of the Golden Witch. Welcome to Rokujima. The Golden Witch extends her heartfelt greetings. Please take it easy and relax for the time being. There's no need to think overly hard about any of this. Quietly accept all that's being asked of you. Quietly accept all that is about to happen. That is all that's being asked of you. The difficulty level is standard. We may as well start by taking the easy road. As you can see, it locks the episodes so that you don't see spoilers, but you can force unlock it if, in the past you played one of these, or, just want to jump ahead to something else. I have watched the anime for this. It has been a long time ago, probably like 12 or 13 years ago. So I have vague recollections of some pieces, but largely I don't know how accurate it is to the game. I've heard the game is actually much better than the anime for this one. So we'll see what happens. So let's start episode 1. And unfortunately, the black sidebars are not something that can go away. I've checked online. And we are using the 07th mod expansion, which has upgraded graphics, sound, and a couple other features. It's not as done out as the Higurashi mod, but it does have some good quality of life improvements. And I will, of course, showcase the original art and the upgraded art. The story is very obviously fictional and fantastic in nature, and resemblance to existing individuals, organizations, locations is entirely coincidental. Okay, so let me find what the button is to change. Oh, okay, that's neat. Original images. So that's what it looks like. The background will stay the same, but the character does. And let's see if I can. Anything, some tips? No. Okay, doesn't seem like I can do anything from that here. I guess we will leave this. Alright, how do I get back? Thanks. That's gonna take me back. I guess just exit. Okay, there we go. Trying to see if there's a quick button that's not advancing in. I will go back and read all these. Oh, that full screen's it. It was a little less. Whoa. Okay, I don't think we have a quick button for that. Alright, so now we'll go back and read it. Again, you still haven't overcome your love of alcohol. The old physician let out a sigh as he removed the stethoscope. Two elderly men could be seen in the dimly lit study, which was filled with dust and a sickly sweet stench. In the corner of this room, which was much larger than what most people would call a study, was an expensive-looking bed, a man undergoing a medical examination, and the physician conducting it. There was also what happened to be a servant watching over the whole scene. The bottle is my friend. It is no less of a friend than you, and has stood by my side even longer than you have. As the man, barring his chest for the stethoscope, rearranged his clothes, he spoke unapologetically. Kinzo-san, your body only appears to be well thanks to the effects of the medicine. If you continue drinking such strong spirits, the treatment will become meaningless. Trust my judgment, refrain from drinking. I thank you, though only for the sentiment, my friend. Hello, Aoden, how's it going? We're here for the love of alcohol. Genji, another glass. Water it down slightly. That way Nanjo can save face. Are you quite sure? Eyeing both the master who demanded the alcohol and the family doctor who forbade it, Genji, the old butler, silently gave a silent nod and carried out his master's orders faithfully. The family doctor Nanjo let out a deep sigh once again as he watched the butler busy himself alongside the liquor cabinet. There was a smell filling up the room. The sweet, poisonous aroma felt as though it melted the heart, if not the soul itself. There was the smell of that venomous green drink that the man couldn't bear to part with. Nanjo, you are my close friend, and we have known each other for quite a long time. I'm deeply grateful for all that you've done to keep me alive this long. I have done nothing. After all, you never listen to my advice as your physician. You never listen when I warn you about a mistaken chess move you're about to make. Seems only fair, does it not? Master, thank you. I wouldn't die if I ran out of your medicine, but I would if I ran out of this. Disregarding Nanjo, but his face set in a resigned expression, Kinzo took the glass that Genji was holding out to him. Very few people would associate that venomous color with an alcoholic beverage. Nanjo, be honest with me. How much time do I have left? Well now, how short must I make it to convince you to set the bottle aside? Nanjo once again let out a sigh of resignation, and he finally spoke to Kinzo as the latter swirled his glass. You don't have long. What precisely do you mean by that? Let us illustrate it with the chess game here. You have very nearly achieved checkmate, but you have not yet cornered my king. Nanjo's gaze was directed at a side table with a massive chess set placed on top of it. I forgot to mention, this game has a lot of chess references. Judging by the positioning of the pieces, the game seemed to be entering its final stage. I'm trying to make out if what the background here actually makes sense for what they're saying. Black's rook and bishop were cutting deep into enemy lines. It does Black's rook and bishop. There is no rook, there is a singular bishop here. It's not really, yeah, so this background image does not do what it's describing. White's king had already been castled and cornered, so that even an amateur could see that the match would reach its conclusion before long. I mean, that part's right. White has castled kingside, it looks like. Every time Nanjo came to give a medical examination, both of them would make a few moves. Nanjo was hinting that Kinzo would most likely fall into his eternal sleep before this game could be concluded. These were less the words of a physician than they were the words of an old friend. Were you a normal patient, I would recommend that you write a will at this point. And what is a will, Nanjo? Handwritten instructions to the vultures on how to devour and scatter my corpse. Not at all. As the word suggests, it's a way for you to record your will for later generations. It is far more than just a means to divide up your inheritance. Oh. Apart from the division of my inheritance, what might I write of? You might write of your regrets, or matters you have left unfinished. Things you want to pass down to others, or merely matters you wish to communicate. Anything you want. Thank you for the hydrate. I do not have a swirling green alcohol to go with this game, unfortunately. Things I want to pass down to others, or matters I wish to communicate. Ridiculous. I, Ushiromiya Kinzo, have not one thing I want to tell or leave behind. I was born with nothing, I will die with nothing. There's nothing I wish to leave to my foolish children. Even if the end were to come today, even if it were to come right now, I would accept that fate of death without a trace of fear. I created everything, my fortune, my prestige, everything. Those were built by me, and they will be lost along with me. There's nothing I wish to leave behind, nothing. After I'm gone, I care not if it all goes to waste. I desire no tomb, no coffin. Those were the terms of the contract I made with the witch. When I die, everything will be lost. That has been part of the promise since the beginning, and that is why nothing will be left behind. There's nothing I can leave behind. After reaching a furious crescendo, Kinzo suddenly slumped over. His expression was limp and feeble, as though an evil spirit had possessed him and then left. However, I do have one regret. I have nothing to leave behind, but there's one thing I cannot leave undone. You would do well to write it down. Of course, it would be best if you could finish it before your time comes. However, even if the worst happens, those who come after you will carry it to completion. You must leave behind your regrets so that they can be resolved, even if you are unable to do so yourself. That is the purpose of a will. When Nanjo tried to gently pat Kinzo's shoulder, the dying man flew into a sudden rage and batted away Nanjo's hand. It's useless, useless, useless. It must be done while I still live. At the moment of my death, my soul will be devoured by the demons of the contract and wiped out of existence. For me, there will be no peace or another world after death. That's why everything must be completed before I go. That's why a will has no meaning for me. Even if I had a chance to write such a thing, even if I did have such a chance, I'd want to see it. I'd want to see it one more time. I want to see Beatrice's smiling face one last time. Oh, Beatrice, why have you resisted me for so long? I'll return everything you have given me. I'm prepared to lose everything, so please, show me your smile just one more time. Beatrice, I beg of you, you must be able to hear my plea. That's the kind of woman you are. I beg of you, show yourself to me. You're here, aren't you? You're standing there, invisible, listening to every word I say. Even now, you're mocking me from somewhere in this room, aren't you? Please, appear before me once more and smile. Feel free to scold me, even snatch away my life by your own hands if you so desire. I don't want to die alone like this. I cannot let myself die until I've seen your smile just one more time. Beatrice, Beatrice, I offer up this life of mine. I offer it up to you. I'm begging of you, Beatrice. And we have an opening. No, this is not seagulls yet. in October 1986. Whoa, things sure move with the times. Can't believe we were able to make the trip in just 20 minutes. Couldn't help but scratch my head and marvel at how far things had come in recent years. We used to go by boat. Back then, we were all forced to endure nearly half a day of swaying back and forth over the sea before we reached Nijima. Things have gotten so much more convenient these days. Still, I've never been on a plane this small. I've flown in a huge jumbo jet before, but this will be my first experience in such a tiny one. It's gonna shake, isn't it? They say smaller boats shake more than big ones, so I guess the same rules probably apply to planes. Just spare me. I thought this game had voice acting. Let me check. Alright, I think I have to save and then back out to the menu, so let's quickly do that. No, I guess not. Found the mute button. Don't worry, Battlergun. It shakes much less than that boat did. Is that you just George Anarchy? Don't scare me like that. You just shaved 3 years off my life. Anyway, what's shaking got to do with anything? Don't think I'm actually scared of the plane, shaking or maybe falling out of the sky or something, right? Of course not, my mistake. Yes, go get cookies. I see you've changed a lot since we last saw you. After all, it's been 6 years since then. Not a kid anymore. Sheesh, and here you are, old enough to smoke and drink. Got no interest in smoking, but I've always wanted to try some booze. Well, if you've got your dad's genes, I bet you can't hold your own when it comes to drinking, right? Well, I usually drink for business rather than pleasure. It's pretty hard to do business in Japan without it. That's exactly right. That's why I never miss a chance to get in some practice. It's no good, Battlergun. You're still a minor. Don't you know alcohol can stunt the growth of, never mind. Come on, I'm tall enough already. In fact, it'd be easier to find clothes if I shrunk a little. I puffed out my chest proudly. Until I hit my growth spurt, my height was below average in my class. Then I grew and grew, and before I knew it, I had passed 180 centimeters. In brackets, 5 foot 11 inches. I guess I have all that muscle training and those shady mail-order performance-enhancing drugs to thank for that. So remember, kids, shady mail-order performance-enhancing drugs is how you get tall. Before then, I never dreamed I'd shoot 10 centimeters above George Anarchy, who reached his peak height early on. Damn, I'll bet my relatives will all say, "Look how big you've grown, Battler-chan," or something. It's all so embarrassing. I wish they'd just give me a break. Anyway, my name, Battler. Well, it's pretty damn weird, don't you think? I gotta wonder what my parents are thinking when they named me that. I never met anyone who could read it right the first time. I usually get called Sento-kun. Sorry, that's not even close. My name is written... that. I cannot read it, but thank you for asking. The first part's my family name. Ushiromiya. That's a fairly plausible Japanese pronunciation so far. The problem is my given name. It's made up of the characters for fight and person, and it's pronounced Battler. Put it all together and you've got Ushiromiya Battler. Pretty crazy, right? It's crazy enough that my parents decided to call me that. But it's even more crazy that some government worker let them make it official. Both groups are at the top of my must-kill list. Anyway, this is one of my cousins. His name is... pronounced Ushiromiya George. He's 5 years older than me, so he must be turning 23 this year. Since the Ushiromiya cousins consist of 2 boys and 2 girls, I ended up playing with George all the time. Because I've always thought of him as a big brother, I still call him Aniki today. Oh, Battler-kun, look how big you've gotten. You know what they say, leave a boy for 3 days and you'll hardly recognize him. Must be in his blood. Rudolph wasn't that tall either until his high school years. Perhaps people end up taller if their growth spurts come late. Nah, it's nothing special. A real man needs to be tough on the inside, too. Exactly. Battler-kun here knows exactly how it works. Real men win or lose based on what they've got on the inside. I don't want your tiny little, saw mustache. Can't ever forget to keep your training and discipline. I do that. Wait very alertly for the perfect moment and strike. I never imagined that I'd become the company president I am today, master of my own domain. To think I've come this far after starting penniless and ruined. The stout, plump old guy is George Aniki's dad, Uncle Hideyoshi. He's the husband of Dad's older sister. In other words, we're not blood related. He's nice to children, sociable all the time, and even quick to give out some spending money to us kids. Simply put, he's an awesome uncle. He speaks in an odd and very noticeable Kansai dialect, but he's actually a natural-born Kanto man. Apparently impressions are everything in the business world, so speaking in a different style than other people is an act that makes him stick out more. However, I hear he gets embarrassed when talking within earshot of a real Kansai person, so he switches back to standard Japanese. I don't really get it, but he's definitely an interesting person. If only you weren't so quick to brag about your life story. That's enough for now, I think. I'm sure Battler's getting tired of it. Aren't you? Nope, not at all. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's pretty cool for a man to have some stories he can brag about. I don't have anything like that at all. Oh, really? Imagine a man with your looks would leave girls crying left and right. Can't believe you have nothing at all to brag about. What? You're joking, right? Of course nothing weird like that's ever happened to me. Heck, I wish it would. Come on, you aren't fooling anyone. You must tell your aunt all about it later. Well, nothing of the sort ever happens to George. This is George Aniki's mother, Aunt Eva. She's my dad's older sister. She and Uncle Hideyoshi are a pair of jokers, and they've always teased me back as far as I can remember. This sometimes made them a bit hard to get along with when I was small. Well, I guess the events of the last 30 seconds prove that they can still be hard to get along with. Even so, George Aniki's family's interesting and fun, and they seem to get along just fine. Sheesh, that's pretty much the total opposite of my family. Battler-kun, have you seen Rudolph's son? Huh? He headed up to the bathroom a while ago. Is he not back yet? Maybe the poor geezer's dropped dead. It's no way to talk about your own father. Still, this isn't the first time he's taken so long in the bathroom. Yeah, the guy's always been that way. Does he really have to take a magazine with him every time he needs to take a dump? What on earth is he doing there with those particular magazines? Oh, you don't need to worry about that at all. Just we've been together. I haven't let him do that on his own. I'll have to get the juicy details later. Sounds like Dad's got his balls in an iron grip. You know exactly what would happen with that man if I didn't keep a tight grip, don't you? No kidding. The only one capable of reining in that old bastard. As his son, I'm more than happy to let you take over. Yes, leave it all to me. After all, that's my specialty. This woman is my father's wife, and we have very interesting conversations about my dad's balls in public. Her name's Ushiromiya Kirie. As you can probably tell from our conversation, she's not my real mother. She's basically my stepmother. My real mom died 6 years ago, and Kirie-san is the woman Dad married afterwards. It's understandable for someone my age. I could never bring myself to call his new wife Mom, and I doubt she feels like using the word son on this massive kid who's no relation to her at all. We aren't little kids. We know there's nothing to be gained by fighting, so we decided that we wouldn't force ourselves to pretend that we were family. I've decided to act a bit more frank with her, acting as though she's a friendly neighbor instead. It's much easier if we just keep a little distance instead of forcing ourselves to act all close and making each other uncomfortable. Kirie-san has always been very open about all this, and thanks to that, we've been able to get along pretty well. Then, just when we were bad-mouthing Dad about being in the bathroom, the man himself came back, wiping his hands with a handkerchief. Battler? Yeah, what's up, Dad? Ah, don't pinch my ear. So you've been talking trash about me with Mom again, haven't you? What makes it so hard to show a little respect for your father, Ah, damn it, that hurts. You can stretch my ear all you want, but I'm not going to be able to fly. That hurts. Come on now. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. Now say, Father, please forgive me for being so rude. Like hell I will. Go find yourself some members-only store if you want it that much. Okay, let go. This old bastard is my dad. I think I'm pretty tall myself, but Dad's just about as tall as I am. No surprise that Aunt Eva started talking about Dad's blood when she saw my height. By the way, my height isn't the only thing I got from him. It seems having weird names runs in the family. Dad's full name is written... this. You can't read it, can you? Come on, it's just... this. Anyway, this guy's name is pronounced Rudolph. You must hate my grandfather for giving him that name. Still, that's no reason to pass that weird naming tradition on to me. The old bastard twisted my ear all over the place. Aunt Eva snuck up behind him and grabbed his ear. Hey, Rudolph. You know better than to physically abuse your son? It hurts, Aniki. The scene perfectly illustrated the relationship between the prankster younger brother and the older sister who could deal out punishment to him despite his size. I think that's good enough for now, Eva-ne-san. I'll make sure to stretch out his other ear later on. Oh, my apologies. I must leave some pulling for you too, Kirie-san. Rudolph, make sure Kirie-san gives you lots and lots of punishment later on, okay? You're going to talk, Aniki, abusing your little brother like that? Hideyoshi-Nisan, I'd like to thank you very much for picking her up. If you hadn't been so generous, she'd still be unsold in the store. Give my gratitude and apologies. What were you calling unsold? After taking 2-3 steps back, Aunt Eva unleashed one of her beautiful, high reverse roundhouse kicks, which stopped just a centimeter away from the tip of Dad's nose. Starting out with Tai Chi Chuan for her figure, Aunt Eva developed an interest in the Chinese martial arts. After that, she went through karate, taekwondo, capoeira, and what is it she's learning now again? Well, they say a woman's weapons are in her lower body, and that's literally true for Eva. Rudolph, do you know that a single direct blow to the side of your head like that would knock you unconscious? Not so long ago, I accidentally connected in a practice match and my opponent was out cold. Sheesh, what a pain. I'm so sorry she can't help walking like a freak. Dad, completely unfazed, shrugged and smiled ironically at Uncle Hideyoshi. Never had a brother or sister myself. When I see you two bickering with each other, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Sure is nice to have a big family. Oh, then why not consider making a little brother for George-kun? Already a fine adult, who's about to go off on his own. So I imagine it might be a good time for another child, you know, when he's 23. I have a little sympathy for the new kid, and all the pain and suffering he'd have to live through. I'm surprised George continued as well as he did after being born from this sinister sister of mine. What an awesome kid he is. Please share some of that with our blockhead of a son someday, will you? That's not at all how it happened. Thanks to Eva Nasan's proper rearing that George-kun became the kind, gentle kid he is now. Isn't that right, Nasan? Oh, come now. You think so? Lord George still has a long way to go. By the way, how's your little Anji-chan doing? I heard she was vomiting? Oh, that's right. I was hoping to finally see her face after such a long time. Is she okay? She often catches a cold when the seasons change. She's very frail. I did want to bring her along, but we decided to have my family look after her this time. I think that's a wise move. She'll heal a lot better if she stays away from that venomous head family household. A child's health is always more important than an adult's convenience, don't you think? I know of some great medicine for vomiting colds like that. Get back home, I'll send some to you right away, so please let her try some. Thank you very much, Hideyoshi-Nisan. Always in your debt. Once the conversation suddenly veered off in that direction, we kids didn't have any chance of butting in. For now, I'm just happy that Aunt Eva gave Dad his just desserts for tugging on my ear. Are we still waiting for the weather report? George Aniki pointed to the counter. Checking weather sign was still stuck next to the departure time for the flight we were scheduled to board. According to Aniki, smaller planes are more subject to wind and other effects of the weather. It's not at all uncommon for flights to be delayed because of that. Wait a sec, we are totally sure it's not going to shake, right? From down here on the ground, it just looks cloudy, not windy. Well, I guess it's different when up where the planes fly. The weather's a bit uncertain today. Aunt Eva looked at a TV in the lounge. The weather forecast was being broadcasted, informing us that a typhoon is approaching the Kanto region. Typhoon again? Guess there's no helping it, with the annual family conference being held in October. Couldn't you have chosen a better season? I agree. Always hoped we could have it sometime around the Obon Festival in mid-August. In that case, why don't you suggest that to Father and Nissan during the conference? Very funny. Why don't you do it yourself? Our brother would never listen to anything I suggested. No way. It doesn't really bother me that much to have it in October. I was just saying you might not propose it since you hate typhoons so much. I only said that typhoons always come around this time of year. You're the one who said you wanted to move it to the Obon Festival, right? Well, you said it too last year. Didn't you say it would be easier to fit into your schedule if we had it during the Obon Festival? I never said anything like that. Oh yes, you did. I certainly wouldn't forget something like that. Oh, I didn't. You're the one that's saying it all the time. Didn't you know? Stopping a kick just a hair's breadth from impact is a very high-level technique. Sheesh, women your age shouldn't spread their legs like that. Dad and Aunt Eva's argument looked no different from a couple of brats quarreling. Even though they usually behave like normal parents, they turn right back into kids again when they meet their siblings at these family conferences. You're the one who looks like a real adult, analyzing it all calmly. I hope I never turn out like that old bastard. I'd much rather end up as an intellectual adult like you, Aniki. Like me. Oh, I still have a long way to go. I still have very little experience out there in the real world, and I need to work on becoming more confident and sociable. I think you far surpass me in all of those counts, Battler-kun. I'm sure you'll outstrip me fast enough when you become an adult. George Aniki scratched his head and laughed, as though trying to hide his embarrassment. Of course, he was just being humble. Aniki entered a university and became an apprentice at Uncle Hideyoshi's company at the same time, studying both academics and how to become a business emperor in parallel. Then, right after graduating, he got into Uncle Hideyoshi's company as his father's aide, piling up a lot of real-life experience as he devoted himself zealously to his work. His dream is to one day stand on his own and build up his own kingdom. Aniki is a real paragon of a man, sparing no effort as he strives towards his goal. It's no exaggeration to say that I really respect him. And then there's me. I'm nothing at all like Aniki. I'm living my happy-go-lucky, idle high school life to the max. I've got no dreams for the future. I just like to sit back, stay cool, and let the money flow in. But of course, that could never happen. When Aniki was my age, he'd already formed an impressive objective and had started devoting himself towards studying for that goal, so I guess I can't compare at all. My dad just says, sure, you can study at my company, if you feel like cleaning toilets. Damn it, I'm not going to be in the debt of that old bastard. I'll find my way myself. If only willpower was all it took to become an adult. Should I go on one of those self-searching journeys that are all the rage these days? It's not like I could mooch off my parents for that kind of money. Right then, Uncle Hideyoshi shouted out loudly. He's a really nice person on the whole, but he does have a problem controlling the volume of his voice. When I looked over, I saw that he was greeting Aunt Rosa, who had come late. Oh ho, if it isn't Rosa-san. Maria-chan, long time no see. Long time no see. Maria, shouldn't that be it's good to see you again? Greet your uncle properly. It's good to see you again. There you go. Well said. How about some candy as a reward? Oh, huh. Where'd I put it? Rosa-san, it's good to see you again. It's good to see you too, Maria-chan. It's been too long, Kirine-san, Hideyoshi-ni-san. And, oh my, Battler-kun? Look how big you've gotten. Ah, come on. It's embarrassing hearing that from every person I meet. Hey Rosa, you're late. Plane was on time, you'd barely have made it. I'm sorry, we had some trouble making our train connection. So are we waiting on the weather again? Oh, don't complain. I much prefer the 30-minute plane trip to spending 6 hours bouncing about on a boat. Even if we're kept waiting here for an hour, it's still much faster overall. Marie-chan's gotten huge too. So how tall are you now? So how tall am I now? Marie-chan parroted Uncle Hideyoshi's question, looking up at her mother. I guess she doesn't remember her own height. She's probably in the middle of a growth spurt, so her height must change every month. Give it a few more years and she'll suddenly start looking feminine. Just how tall were you the last time you got measured? You keep getting bigger and bigger, don't you? Right? Ooh, I think she's grown a lot since last year. Let's see, she turned 9 years old this year, didn't she? 9 years old. That's right, you're 9 now. Glad to see you're doing well too, Maria-chan. Up you go. Guess you've gotten a bit too heavy to play airplane with. George Aniki, what a rude thing to say to a lady. Here, I'll do it. Up you go. When I went to lift her in Aniki's place, Maria stiffened defensively, staring suspiciously at my face. Oh, that's right. The last time I met Maria, it was 6 years ago, and she was only 3 years old. Of course she doesn't remember my face. Maria-chan, don't you remember? It's Battler-kun. We used to play together, remember? No surprise, I guess. The last time she met Battler-kun, she was only 3. Don't keep memories at that age. She must know everyone's face apart from mine because she meets them every year. But I haven't had contact with the Ushiromiya family for about 6 years now. It's no surprise that this 9-year-old girl doesn't have any memories of me. Even I can only barely remember her being a 3-year-old crybaby. Maria, this is Battler Oni-chan, Rudolph Nissan's son. Understand? The brother is the son. That ooh sound is probably your brain going into overload at that complicated explanation. I guess the phrasing of that was a bit confusing. Near Oni, the title you'd use to refer to an actual older brother, can also be a friendly honorific for a boy who's only a bit older than you. Just like Ne or One, the word for big sister. Maria-chan, this is Battler-kun. He's your cousin, like me. Like George Oni-chan? Battler. Cousin? That's right. You got it. This part of Aniki is what makes me really look up to him. For someone who isn't married, he's just great at dealing with kids. I'm sure he'll be an indulgent father in the future. Battler Oni-chan? Maria looked straight at me with a questioning expression, as though asking whether it was okay to call me that. Yeah, that's me, Battler. Nice to meet you, Maria. Maria, you mustn't talk to him like that. Call him Battler Oni-chan. It's alright, Aunt Rosa. I don't sweat the small stuff. Hey Maria, we're close enough that we don't need honorifics, right? Battler. That's right, Maria. We horsed around for a while to make up for the 6-year gap in our friendship. She probably still thinks of me as nothing more than a big new friend, but things will probably work out as we get to know each other again. But I'm surprised. She's just the way I remember her being 6 years ago. Seems that people just don't change that much after all. I'm a bit happy that she's still the pure innocent girl I remember. Her name is written. This. Of course, this is pronounced Maria. The third character looks like a cross, which is pretty cool. Her feelings don't usually show up on her face, so it can be difficult to know just what she's thinking, but that's just how she looks on the outside. On the inside, she's just a sweet, normal girl. Then there's Maria's mother, Aunt Rosa. She's my dad's younger sister. Rosa is written. Here's a name that's totally not Japanese. Sorry to say it, but her name's almost as ridiculous as Dad's. I've got to respect her for not ending up as screwed up as he is. When I think about it, all the names in my family sound foreign. That's why his grandfather's so obsessed with that. because of him, even we grandchildren have to put up with this weird naming sense. It's even more annoying since grandfather's own name is perfectly normal. Why are they so focused on names? In Japanese, names have like a lot of meaning associated with them, as well as the spelling of it, so that's probably why there's a big focus here. It also might be drilling in, I'm not sure if we can skip to it. There's going to be a very large tree of people soon, so you really need to remember who is who, because they're going to be referencing people, and if you don't remember who is who and their relationships, it's going to get very confusing very fast. So you can already see here, we're in the main family line, so we've got the second child, husband, kid. Third child, second wife, us. Apparently our mother's name is Asumu. And then we've got the fourth child, no husband in the picture, and it doesn't look like there is one because we don't have an empty box with the child, and we're missing the first son. And I think this will expand a lot later. So if I remember, this has I think over like 20-ish characters. But maybe this game only has this many. Well, I guess we'll see soon. Anyway, there's one thing about Aunt Rosa that's a relief compared to the other family members. The old bastard Aunt Eva might have this annoying urge to tease and mock people all the time. But even though she shares their blood, Aunt Rosa isn't like that at all. She has the most common sense among all the siblings. Like Uncle Hideyoshi, she's a kind aunt who will always be on the kid's side. However, possibly because she's more strict as a parent, she's not liberal with handing out spending money like Uncle Hideyoshi. Okay. Now we have the entire group of family members who are going to board the plane. At that moment...
I see a tree.
Yeah. So this one top left, I presume, is our grandfather. We have the second child, our aunt. The third child, our father. Fourth child, our other aunt.
Hi, Samses.
We have not yet met the first child. We have the spouse of the second child and their son. We have our stepmom, us, our aunt, who apparently does not have a man in the picture right now, and her daughter. And I'm not quite sure what these other L's.
From what I remember, I'm fairly sure this blue line is...
I wanted to say it was the servants.
the help.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've...
It's been about 12 or 13 years since I've watched this. And Samus has asked, how are we both? I'm doing well. Glad that it is the weekend.
I'm still working.
So she will be happy it is the weekend soon. Well, we were working until, what, 1 a.m. last night? Samus is asking, isn't it a bit late to be working?
A little overworked.
Just a bit. Waited for us all to arrive, an announcement rang out throughout the lobby. Our apologies for the delay. Boarding will now commence for Flight 201 to Nijima. Guests of the passengers, please form 2 lines from the counter behind the white line. Rosa, you still haven't gone through boarding procedures, right? Hurry up. Oh no. Maria, come on. We had to go through a metal detector before going out onto the runway. Our small plane wasn't as massive as an international flight, but it was still a plane. A staff member holding a metal detector checked us all. Once all of us cleared the check, we followed the staff member out onto the runway. Come to think of it here, everyone here is in the Ushiromiya family. It's like this is a reserved chartered flight or something. Our group stopped in front of the entrance to the airplane. Then our guide turned around and spoke, looking down the passenger list as he did. Boarding will now commence. As I call out the names on the passenger list, please take your seats in order, starting from the front row on the right side and going right to left, then on to the next row. I will now begin reading the passenger list. Ushiromiya Hideyoshi-sama. Oh, I'm first? Right here. By the way, do you have some candy, Eva? I've been looking all over for some, but I can't find any. Ushiromiya Eva-sama. They're in my handbag. I'll get one once we're inside the plane. I heard that candies are a good way to protect your ears from hurting because of variations in atmospheric pressure when landing or taking off. It's probably what they're talking about. Hope I get a window seat. Don't worry. There aren't any other kinds of seats. Serge Oniki said there were apparently only 2 lines of seats. This is what a small plane is like. We are totally sure it's not going to shake, right? Ushiromiya George-sama. Right here. Don't worry, Battler-kun, it won't shake too much. Ushiromiya Battler-sama. Aniki, what do you mean not too much? You can just swim if you fall from a boat, but if a plane crashes, you're screwed, right? We all get our own parachutes in our seats, don't we? Wait, we don't? Ushiromiya Rudolph-sama. Come on, Battler, stop standing there slack-jawed and get in. Ow, Dad, don't push me. We don't get parachutes? Ushiromiya Kirie-sama. Okay, you two, stop fooling around. Let's move on in. Ow, Kirie, don't push me. This blockhead isn't moving. Ushiromiya Maria-sama. Ooh, let's move on in. Ushiromiya Rosa-sama. Maria, be quiet. This is your pilot, Kawabata. We'd like to thank you for taking New Tokyo Aviation's Flight 201 today. We estimate that the flight to Nichima Airport will take about 20 minutes. We are receiving reports of atmospheric turbulence. There may be some shaking on the aircraft, so we ask that you do not unfasten your seatbelts after takeoff. Aniki, did that guy just say we need to wear seatbelts? In a jumbo jet, they just let you undo them right after takeoff, right? It's gonna shake so much we can't take them off. Damn it, you tricked me. It is gonna shake after all. Where are the parachutes? I knew I should have taken the boat. So that was all the intro. Now we're at Legend of the Golden Witch. Oh, we get an old cast, like it's a film. We have yet to meet Jessica, or Kraus, or Natsuhi. I believe those are all the help from what I remember, especially when they only have one name.
It was really loud. The mic picked up your...
Oh, the cracking? Should have taken the boat. The boat. Fall! Fall! Maria, that's enough. What a surprise. There's nothing that can scare Battler-kun. This guy can't handle vehicles for some reason. Always yells about falling and sinking and stuff. You're a disgrace of a man, you are. Ah, shut up. That thing was seriously shaking way too much. I just got a little stressed since it was my first time on a small plane like that. Call that a little stressed? Seems like it'd be fun to take an overseas vacation with you, Battler-kun. Would like to go to Egypt with your aunt? To ride in a plane for a full 14 hours. There's a good plan. Battler-kun, you should let even Nason toughen you up some. Still, it's so hilarious. Now, everyone's got their own strong and weak points. It's bad to laugh at them. Dad, you're laughing too. Marie-chan, you shouldn't laugh anymore. Shouldn't laugh anymore? Damn it. Is being scared of planes really such a big deal? Everyone obviously thinks I'm a big oaf now. We split up and took separate taxis from the airport to the harbor. From there on, we would be taking a boat. The islands are right next to each other, so the distance of the trip wasn't that great. By boat, it was a leisurely 30 minutes to the island. When we reached the pier where the boat to the island was anchored, we saw a figure waving at us. George Nissan, it's been so frickin' long. Jessica-chan, it's been a year since I saw you. You've gotten taller again, haven't you? Yeah, don't give me that. It's embarrassing when you say it every year. Hey, Aniki, you gotta be kidding me. That really Jessica? Wait a sec, George. This big guy Battler? We both stared at each other. She definitely didn't look like that in my memories. But I do remember her crazy way of talking. Yo, Jessica, what's this now? Kidding me, you look like a woman now. What are these boobs? You even managed to get a chest? Let me rub them. Let me... Don't screw around with me. I'm a blushing flower of 18. Of course my hair grew longer and I got these. What, you think I got boobs just to get fondled by you, loser? Speaking of you, sure you got all ridiculously huge, but did you get a bit stronger too? Don't screw with me. I'll show you how much training I've done since back then. You're pissing me off. Hope you get your own game. This headstrong girl's name is... this. She was born under the same unlucky star as me, sharing the same kind of weird name. Anyway, it's pronounced Jessica. She's Dad's older brother's daughter. That older brother happens to be the oldest son of the Ushiromiya family, so for now it means Jessica is the direct family heir. Since Jessica and I are the same age and sometimes had little boy-girl squabbles with each other, we've always been used to fighting and joking around together whenever the relatives gather. Jessica grew more quickly, so she always had me beat in terms of size and physical strength. When we scuffled in a contest of strength, it usually went Jessica's way. So even though I realized I'd grow bigger, part of my mind was still convinced that I couldn't beat Jessica. Oh, what the? You're getting all serious for? Ow. Hey, this is nothing. Jessica, you've gotten weak. Shut up. I'm a girl, so of course I couldn't beat a guy with physical strength forever, right? Well, you got a point there. The meat I put on my arms all went to your chest. Looks like it'd be a pretty big test of strength between my arms and your boobs, don't you think? I told you, my boobs aren't for you to feel up. Besides, how about you? Did your cute little elephant-san get a bit bigger to go with the rest of you?
They're cousins.
Yes. Well, let's pull up the family tree where she is probably there. Yeah, there she is. There is her. There is us. We are cousins. Apparently she has asthma. Learning all of the secrets. Like, our uncle's business is a restaurant chain. Stop it, idiot. No, you perv. I'll be ruined for marriage. Don't touch my crotch. Don't say stuff people are gonna misinterpret. Honestly, I was so surprised at how feminine Jessica had become that I had to joke around like an idiot to hide it. Well, considering what a bossy brat she was 6 years ago, anyone would be surprised. I guess she's just as surprised. She probably wasn't expecting to lose to me in a test of strength. After losing that easily, she must be shocked at how much I've grown in the past 6 years. 6 years. Once again, I'm being shown just what a huge gap of time that was. Crap, total defeat. It's like I'm no match for you anymore. That's not true. Even Battler-kun must have his weaknesses, right, Maria-chan? Fall. Shh, cut it out, Maria. Just keep that a secret, okay? Fall? Hell are you talking about? Sorry, there's no chance you'll see that weakness of mine now. After all, the nightmare plane trip is already over and done with. The only thing left is a nice, quiet splashing of the boat ride. Never thought I'd start loving that piece of junk boat this much. George Nissan, is there something wrong with his head? You'll understand soon. Very soon. At the time, I didn't get what Aniki meant by that big smile. What have we here, oh? Battler-san, how big you've grown. Who's it this time? It's an old lady with an apron. Oh yeah, that takes me back. I remember now. You remember her, right? It's Kumasawa-san, the servant. I can never forget you, Kumasawa-ba-chan. Let's see if we now have someone in the blue... No, she doesn't get her own portrait, so we don't care about her, apparently. After all, you haven't aged a bit in these past 6 years. If anything, I'd say you're looking younger than ever. Oh, lately my skin's been getting quite smooth and silky. Yeah, we just forgot about her, apparently. Look, hasn't my chest gotten bigger as well? How'd you like a little feel? You're kidding, right? My breast fondling is strictly limited to bouncy girls. And our cousins, apparently. I was quite bouncy in my youth. Don't be shy. Fondle to your heart's content. Yeah, give me a break. It's girls I'm looking for, not grannies. The jokes I'd cracked about Jessica were being turned against me. Come to think of it, Kumasawa's always been the type to tease people. Kumasawa-san, stop that now. People with one foot in the coffin shouldn't jump around. To sport with the young is the most rejuvenating medicine. It's rare for you to come pick us up, Kumasawa-san. Wonder what's gotten into you. Usually your lumbago kicks in whenever someone gives you a job to do. Eva-sama, you're as harsh as ever. Found myself some urgent purchases to make, and while I was at it, I thought I would come welcome you all. Although it does give a bad impression if the one waiting to greet you is a decrepit old woman. Aunt Eva spoke sarcastically, but Kumasawa-ba-chan's years of experience were nothing to sneeze at. If I say it out loud, I'll understand. Alright. I already figured it out. Hello, Beardy. How's it going? Thank you for the shout out. She was more than capable of smoothly and coolly deflecting that comment. Feels bad to say it, but old Kumasawa-ba-chan may be past her prime as a servant. She might act as though she's in good health, but between the headaches and her lumbago, her body is wearing out. To tell the truth, the very fact that she's still working is impressive. How old is she this year again? She must be pushing 80 at least. It's incredible that she's still able to act so cheerily. You just seem to get more and more lively. That's right, here you are.
There you go.
You two experienced lumbago. You two experienced the lumbago.
Do you know what lumbago is?
Isn't it a back condition?
It's like a lower back pain.
From sitting at your desk like this.
It's Lumbago, also known as I'm a software developer.
Yeah. It's the tea I told you about before. Look, I bought you some. Please do try it later on. Aunt Rose took a souvenir bag out from her suitcase. To think she remembered a promise that she'd apparently made last year and faithfully brought it. This sort of thoughtfulness was just like Aunt Rosa. She wasn't the kind of person who would forget or break a promise. Kumasawa Bachan seemed deeply touched. Not only that Aunt Rosa had remembered this year-old promise, but that she would bring a gift to a simple servant like her. This woman, Kumasawa Chiyo-san. I get the Chiyo. That's one thing I can actually read. She's a senior servant who's been working at the Ushiromiya head family household for many years. As you'd expect from someone her age, manual labor isn't her strong point. She's a kind of super servant who can handle just about anything else, from kitchen work to cleaning and laundry. Seems like her only flaw is a tendency to slack off. Here she tries to get away from heavier, troublesome work by playing up her chronic diseases. In Kumasawa Bachan's case, this was probably a sign of craftiness rather than laziness, though it probably doesn't impress those paying her salary. Ah well, even if she's pretty flaky when it comes to work, I can never dislike her. I guess that's probably because of her cheerfulness and constant smile. Hey, glad to see you're still in fine spirits. How's your back doing then? Even with the medicines not getting one whit better, according to the doctor, nothing can be done for this one. It's what you might call an incurable disease. Not super plausible. I was hoping that there would be a key for the images and we could try to glitch that like we did in the previous game. But this game does not... Oh, she finally has her portrait. She gets much taller. She has shoes on the older version. So yeah, I hate to say I'm probably going to disable it after this one. Yeah, shoes are bad for your back. Actually, while we're here, we can take a look at everyone. Yeah, she gets shoes. Yeah, everyone just gets shoes in the old version. Trying to see now if someone doesn't get shoes. No, everyone gets shoes. Anyway, Jessica-chan just keeps getting prettier. Good thing she takes after Natsuhine-san. Really, personally I don't think we look alike at all. I mean, I don't even want to be like my parents, because I got zero respect for them. Nah, you shouldn't say such things. Though there are quite a few people who don't want to be like their parents in our family. Ah, that's me. You sure as hell better not take after me. Your nose looking like mine already pisses me off. What are you talking about? You're surprisingly alike, you and Father. Come on, you can't be serious. Just how am I like Dad? You're a lot like him, especially in how arrogant and prideful you are. Father's blood is especially strong in you and Nissan. Wouldn't you say, Rosa? Oh, absolutely. Kraus Nissan and Rudolph Nissan are almost unbelievably like Dad. Alright, already. Why am I the only one under fire from the girls? Hideyoshi Nissan, give me a hand, please. My, Rudolph-kun. You're always so popular with the ladies. I'm jealous. What? As usual, you're popular enough to make me jealous. Well then, everyone, shall we head over to the boat? Come now, Maria-san, let's get on the boat together, okay? Get on the boat together. Everyone gets on together. Hell yeah, this time around I'm not gonna be scared. I'm used to being shaken by the waves. That piece of junk fishing boat, I'm less afraid of the shaking than the engine breaking down and the boat drifting off. Yes, Battlerkin, I forgot to tell you. That fishing boat was completely worn out. It was taken out of commission a few years back. Now we get taken to the island in a different boat. Oh right, it's Battler's first time in the new boat. It's super comfy and frickin' fast. You can go at crazy high speeds. Oh, that means less travel time, right? That sounds great. Having to worry about sinking is less scary than being on a plane. But it'd still be awesome to get it over with as quick as possible. Is Battler gonna go fall again? That's only in airplanes. Everything's fine now. Anyway, it's the captain's pride and joy. Kind of modded high-speed boat. Seems he's got it pretty souped up. He's bragging about how he attached 4 base high-efficiency propellers to make it break 40 knots or something like that. Talks about it all the time, so I've sort of memorized the spiel. Thank you for the chat quote. And the shout out. Yeah, I've got it memorized too since we hear about it every year. Captain says he's been obsessed with modding ever since he lost a speed contest with a foreign boat ages ago. According to him, that opponent managed to break 30 knots with just a fishing boat. His thirst for a revenge match got him to build an awesome all-new super high-speed modded boat. I'm sure you'll just love it, Battler. Super high-speed modded boat. First thought was that this would be much better than some beat-up boat that might sink at any moment. But for some reason I got this feeling of foreboding. Probably just overthinking it. Hey Battler, maybe you should just swim to the island. Battler-kun, you shouldn't lean over the railing too much. You might fall. Fall! Damn it, so this is why you were all grinning back there. So this is the super high-speed boat that the captain started modding. Hey yes, that piece of junk fishing boat from 6 years ago doesn't hold a candle to this guy. Whoa, it's shaking. It's shaking. It's gonna fall, gonna fall! Gonna fall! If I fall, I'll land in the ocean and drown. Where's the parachute? I mean, where's the buoy? Give me a life jacket. Battler, what the heck are you doing that for? Jessica-chan, Marie-chan, it's not nice to tease. Battler-kun, if you're scared, then just don't come out on the deck. You'd be able to calm down a bit if you go inside the boat. So no thank you, Aniki. Shipwreck victims are always the ones inside the boat. Survivors are usually those on the deck during the accident. I'm staying right here. But it's shaking, and I'm gonna fall. Shake, gonna fall. Maria, I told you to behave yourself. Battler-kun, it really looks like you can't handle it. I'll go tell the captain to slow down for you. And Rosa, thank you. I can tell you now that safe, slow driving is definitely the way to go, even on the sea. Don't do that, Rosa. Trials and tribulations are important for young men. Not right, Battler-kun. You'd better be able to overcome a little scare like this. Otherwise, you'll never be able to go to Egypt with your aunt. Aunt Eva, you're so mean. No, I'm gonna fall. Life jacket, parachute. Wait, gotta spin around, think that way. What's the enemy aiming for? Is he even doing this to scare me? If that's what he's aiming for, too bad. Like hell I'll be scared. But no, I'm gonna fall. So after I made a huge fool of myself for a while, Aunt Rose had a talk with the boat captain, and he slowed down to a more manageable speed for me. That's better. Thought I was gonna die earlier. Apparently the max speed I can tolerate is extremely slow. But that just now was completely insane. The whole boat was shaking, sliding and slipping on the ocean's surface. I felt like I was riding on the back of a giant fish. Jessica's still guffawing at me as I leaned against the rail, tired and disheartened. I lost that strength contest earlier, but I'm glad to know I'm no worse off where it really counts. Seriously. Damn it, go ahead and laugh. One of these days I'm gonna find your weakness and get back to you. Then your boobs will be mine to squish. Thank you for the follow. Good luck with that. Battler all week. Yeah, battler all week. I want to die on land, not the ocean or the sky. Marie was patting my back, so I patted her head in return. Her expression was blank, as usual, but I realized that she wanted to console me. Battlerkin, the captain's throwing in drinks to make up for this. Would you like one to calm yourself down? George Anaki and Kumasawa Bachan brought us all ice-cold cans of soft drinks covered with beads of water. Judging from Kumasawa's son's big grin, our parents inside the boat were probably all rolling around laughing at my moment of pure terror. I don't know if I like your max speed, Beardy. Damn it, I'm so embarrassed I can't bear to face any of them. If I didn't change the subject somehow, I had the feeling that I'd be the butt of everyone's jokes for the whole trip, so I tried to think of something harmless to talk about. Hey Jessica, how are Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi doing? My old man and mom? Fortunately, they're fine. But every other word out of their mouths is study, which pisses me off. So jealous, and it doesn't look like Uncle Hideyoshi or Uncle Rudolph would say stuff like that. Oh no. Before I had my exams, my parents kept pressing me about it over and over. I thought it was annoying then, but now I'm grateful. I knew it. Really are awesome, Aniki. Anyway, I have to look after myself. No one tells me what to do. Well, it's not like I'd listen if they did. Battler-san, have you still not returned to your parents' home? Well, I kinda go back now and then. I've got lots of clothes and stuff left at the house I was living in until recently. Battler has 2 houses? Something like that. Why? Why do you have 2 houses? Only Maria, who couldn't really grasp the situation, voiced this naive question. However, the others just shot nervous glances at me, choosing not to respond even though they knew the answer. Maria, look, you can see the harbor now. Look over there. Can you see it? Ooh, saw the harbor. Apparently Jessica was trying to be nice by changing the subject. Well, I'd rather not talk about it if I can help it. It's uncomfortable to have it treated like some kind of weird taboo. I don't mind it much myself anymore. I may be a member of the Ushiromiya family, but the truth is that for the last 6 years, I've been living with my grandparents on my late mother's side, and I've even been using her family name. When those grandparents passed away, one after the other, I basically had no choice but to go back and live with the old bastard. Don't get me wrong. I didn't just run away from home or anything like that. The only one at fault here is my dad. I don't really blame Kirie-san. Being able to hold that old bastard's reins and ride him out is no mean feat. Still, the way that old bastard betrayed my mom... Well, unfortunately I still haven't fully got over that. We'll be getting there soon. George Aniki cleared his throat, trying to change the subject. We'll be getting there soon. George Aniki cleared his... It seems this old woman has said too much already. I've hurt your feelings. I don't mind it, no one's feelings are hurt. Don't worry, Kumasawa Bachan. Kumasawa-san seemed to regret speaking out of turn, but I was more concerned about being worried over for something like that, so I stood up and passed off lightly. After that, I had a sip of my drink and headed over to Marie and Jessica, who were gazing at the silhouette of the island. Battler, I saw the island. There. Where is it? Oh, I see it now. After 6 years, the island hasn't changed a bit. Small island silhouette in front of us had gotten pretty close. The island's name is Rokunjima. A small island about 10 kilometers around, located in the Izu archipelago. They call this archipelago the Izu 7. Lots of people think there are only 7 islands, but that's not true. There's actually 7 more, and Rokujima is one of the minor islands that don't get counted. Even if that weren't the case, I doubt you'd find many people who knew about this island. Only people connected to the Ushiromiya family ever go there. In other words, outsiders and tourists never have any reason to care about it. We're playing seagulls in the archipelago. After all of Rokujima is an estate possessed by the Ushiromiya head family. Only the Ushiromiya family lives there, and only people connected to the Ushiromiya family come and go to and from there. There's nothing there except a harbor and a mansion. The vast majority of the island is still just uncultivated forest. Such a waste when it could be made into a nice golf course or something. However, when you realize that the entire coastline is a private beach, it starts to sound pretty magnificent. You probably guessed by now, but to put it simply, well, the Ushiromiya family is just rolling in dough. The head family apparently possesses a vast fortune, and Dad and the others who make up the branch families have built plenty of wealth for themselves, finding success in their respective businesses. I've been living a commoner's life at my grandparents' home these past 6 years, so I'd completely forgotten. But the old bastard's house really is elegant, and everything about it tuned to match the snobbish taste of the annoyingly rich. Come to think of it, I guess that makes George Anarchy, Jessica, Maria, and me wealthy, high-class gentlemen and ladies. Needless to say, none of us think of ourselves that way at all. I don't see myself as being rich, and George Anarchy, who takes self-discipline very seriously, doesn't let himself get too comfortable. Jessica is always complaining that she'd rather move to the city than be rich, and Maria is still just a kid who isn't even interested in money at all. Does that attitude really make us any less snobbish? From the perspective of people in poverty who can't pay the bills, we really have been blessed with a lot. This isn't the place to explain any further, so I won't. Anyway, it's the name. It's the same as not being able to choose the parents you're born from. I didn't ask to be born into a rich family. I don't think it's really something to be envied.
Boo-hoo! Rich people tears!
It can be pretty trying when people are prejudiced against you just because you're rich and refuse to judge you by your merits. As I pondered these sentimental thoughts, Maria started shouting and I leaned over the railing. Gone. What's wrong, Maria? Did you drop something? Gone. Maria kept yelling, gone, gone. First it sounded like she had dropped something, but while she shouted, she was also pointing out over the ocean. What's wrong? What's gone? I'll look for it too if you want. What is it? If she dropped something, she probably just would have looked down at the floor, but Maria was pointing out over the ocean. One would assume by that gesture that she'd spotted something, but she just kept saying that something wasn't there. Strange. However, since my last memories of this place came from 6 years ago, I was able to spot it before Anarchy comes here every year. Huh? If I remember correctly, wasn't there a torii or something on top of a small crag around here? That's right, it was definitely there. I remember it well, since as we got closer to the island, it's the first thing to greet us, like a landmark. Wow, you're amazing, Battler. Even though it's been 6 years, you remembered. It was here, wasn't it? I remember too. The Tutleri God's shrine and that torii-like thing were standing all alone on that crag. Now that you mention it, they're gone, aren't they? Pretty sure that they were still there last year. Gone. Gone. Maybe they were washed away by the waves or something? It's a small crag, so it probably got worn away over time. I feel like crazy settings for an archipelago is something that everyone has to buy into, and then we can all do really crazy settings. Because I think Droth is doing Majora's Mask, which will be a first time for him next time. So it could also be a time to try out a different game if you're looking for different things to do. Well, that's my theory too. just last summer that it disappeared, but they say an enormous lightning bolt came crashing down one evening and smashed the shrine. The fisherman whispered, having a thunderbolt fall upon our honored tutelary god must be important of approaching misfortune.
I think
Tutelary?
I think so.
I just accidentally skipped over a line of text. Tutelary? Okay.
Fact check.
It's a word I've never seen before. I'm just trying to read it. Kumasawa-san smiled impishly, as if teasing us, rubbing her hands together while intoning a Japanese phrase meant to ward off lightning. However, Maria apparently took this seriously and stared fixedly over the ocean to where the crag housing the shrine god was supposed to be. Portent of misfortune? Enough, Kumasawa-san. Maria isn't old enough to get that kind of joke. It's okay, Marie-chan. Just a coincidence. Nothing scary is going to happen. Georgianiki put a hand on Maria's shoulder to calm her down, but Maria's sharp-eyed expression didn't waver. Misfortune. Misfortune. Maria muttered that word over and over, apparently repeating a single word over and over is a habit that Maria's had for a long time. However, since the word she was saying was literally an ill omen, it was a bit creepy. You can shuffle door caps and progressive beam upgrades. What does door caps do? Like as if it needs like super missile or whatever to open up? Hey now, Maria. Say it over and over like that, misfortune will really end up happening, you know? I tapped Maria's other shoulder. Maria whipped her head around and stared into my face and spoke unblinkingly. Misfortune is coming. Huh? And just where is it coming from? I answered lightheartedly, trying to break the tension in the air. What's an example of a cap that's not in vanilla? At that moment, Maria held up a finger, raised her arm high, and pointed up to the heavens. When I looked up, I saw that the sky was still just as cloudy, but it had grown a great deal more leaden than it had been that morning. Okay, like a wave buster door. Interesting. I have not dared do like a full rando for Paper Mario. So if I fully randomized everything... So with what I've been doing 4-chapter limited logic check, which is I think just over 300 checks. If I maxed everything out, I think it goes up to almost 800 with entrance randomizer. What else could I add in? I could make the final dungeon accessible right from the get-go, so I could immediately have something like behind high-level dungeons, which is a problem. That's right. They were saying a typhoon was approaching. We'd planned to spend one night on the island, but if the storm doesn't pass quickly, I won't be able to make it to school on Monday. Well, I guess it makes for a pretty good excuse to be absent. She apparently sensed some kind of misfortune in this cloudy sky. She's been muttering that non-stop for a while now. Girls at Maria's age tend to be very impressionable. She's just about the age that many girls start to get excited about sixth senses and whether they have any psychic potential and stuff. For all we know, this might be due to her childish, sensitive nature. It's okay, Maria-chan. The weather might get worse tonight. Tomorrow it'll clear up and become a pretty blue sky. Oh, and I forgot that the other thing I can add in is, they added a different way to, like, beat the Paper Mario randomizer called Star Hunt, which is if you think of like the Super Mario 64 where you like stars to collect, except they just replace coins in the game with stars. And I think you can go up to 120 stars. And you can make that a requirement for entering the final dungeon. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Sadly, traps are still not something that work with Archipelago, because I would love to add traps, and then you can send me essentially an ice trap that could potentially kill me, and then we add Deathlink in. The weather might get worse tonight, but tomorrow it'll clear up and become a pretty blue sky. Pretty blue sky. That's right, by tomorrow it'll be a pretty blue sky. There's no rain that doesn't end, and no clouds that never clear. Rain that doesn't end, clouds that never clear. I know the typhoon's coming, but soon it'll go away. It'll be okay, Maria. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maria started yelling ooh ooh, and it looks as though she was having a tantrum, because no one could understand what she was saying. What in the world is Maria trying so desperately to warn us about? Unable to understand her, we couldn't help but feel a vague sense of misfortune. I've heard that everyone can feel the supernatural, but that it weakens as you age. That might mean that Maria, the youngest one of us all, still possessed some kind of sixth sense that the rest of us had lost. I wonder if that sense is sending her a warning. That moment, Kumasawa-san quietly opened her mouth. Rumor has it that long ago, Rokenjima was Kumasawa-san. Let's not talk about that now. Just as Kumasawa-san was about to tell some kind of story, Jessica sharply interrupted her. Jessica's tone was extremely firm for her. I wanted to push further, just out of simple curiosity, but judging by the look on Jessica's face, whatever Kumasawa-bachan was likely to say would probably make Marie even more uneasy. If I did try to press her for the story, the odds were pretty good that it wouldn't be anything bright and cheery. Oh, I do apologize about that. The wind here is hard to bear for the elderly, so if you'd excuse me for now. Gossipers have no reason to hang around after they've been told to stop chatting. Kumasawa-san finally realized that she'd overstepped her bounds and she went back inside the boat. After she left, Uncle Hideyoshi showed up in her place. Since he'd arrived mid-conversation, he completely failed to notice the complicated atmosphere that hung about the scene. So he refreshingly and unwittingly swept that atmosphere aside. So in the end, it was his lack of tact that brightened the mood. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, just a bit more. Took forever at the speed we went today, didn't it? Wonder whose fault that was. Aw, Uncle Hideyoshi, give me a break already. Come on, don't stop there. Seriously, thanks to Battler here, it's taken forever. Maria probably thought that everyone was refusing to listen to her. She hung her head, wearing a fretful expression. As she did, George Anarchy crouched down to meet her eyes, and spoke to her kindly. Maria-chan, there's nothing to be afraid of, because we're all together. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're together. Go ahead and say it. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're together. Yes, there's nothing to be afraid of. We're with each other. That's right, exactly what George Anarchy said. If we stick together, there'll never be anything at all to be afraid of. Right, Jessica? Yeah, no doubt about that. George Nissan says is always true, Maria. George Nichan, always true. Yes, I don't lie, so trust me. It's totally not what a liar would say, but we'll just brush past that, I think. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're all together. George Nichan doesn't lie. I trust you. There's nothing to be afraid of if we're all together. Not afraid. Marie jumped into George Anaki's arms and hugged him tightly. After Anaki patted her head, she jumped away again. Her facial expression had undergone a 180-degree change, turning back to normal. She was once again the ordinary Maria. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore because we're together. Yeah, that's it. You look all better now. You're strong, and that's awesome. I'm awesome. Hey, now what's going on here? Marie-chan didn't get seasick, did she? Well, something like that. We'll be arriving soon. Harbor was already drawing near. Now, if you're watching the anime, I'm pretty sure everything that just took place is a conversation that takes about 10 seconds after they land at the harbor. Yeah, we need to read all of that. That just took... How long have we been playing this game? About an hour and a half, hour 35? We need to do that in 5 minutes. So we need to read it. Someone quickly do the math. What would that be? If we say it's 1:30, so that's 90 minutes. Yeah, we need to put 90 minutes into 5 minutes of time. The boat gave a big shudder. It seems we've docked at the harbor. The boat driver came out and jumped to the pier with the mooring pole rope. A large man in a tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. So we're at 5% speed. My estimate for the whole thing was, I think, just over 100 hours. So with visual novels, there's actually a cool thing that people can do, and it's because it's just a text game, right? Is you can run a script that tells you how many words are inside of the game, or you can do rough estimations based on the file length. Because there's rough estimations you can do based on how many characters there are in the file and file size to how many words it is. Okay, cool. We're going to be here for the next 20 years. So each chapter of this game, the chapter, so unlike Higurashi, these ones are more equal than the others. So in Higurashi, you had some chapters that were only like 2 to 3 streams long. Each of this one is going to be about the same as I think it was the seventh game, which I'd have to take a look, but I think that was getting close to double-digit streams. I think it might have been like 7 or 8 streams. So we basically have like 7 streams times 8 if we get through all 8. And what I might do is I might take pauses between each chapter. Depending on how long they are, because if each chapter is going to be like 7 or 8 streams, that's a lot, and that's a lot to kind of get locked into. So I might do this one chapter at a time. I'm hoping there will be a lot of easy scenes to read. Just like scenes of murder, or just like stabby. I didn't realize this game didn't have audio. I'll have to look into that. I thought it had voice acting. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I'm guessing he was a servant of the Ushiromiya head household. Welcome home, milady. You're so late in returning that I began to worry. Ah, thanks for caring. This moron got so scared we had to slow down. It was seriously annoying. Shut up. Someday when the shoe's on the other foot, you'll remember this. That's right, the world will spread to the whole family and I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. Oh great, it's even more? Lovely, so until the next 20 years, we'll be here for the next 35. Even without this, everyone Everyone would be talking about me because of that 6-year gap, but now I've given them an even juicier topic. Damn it, why does the Ushiromiya head family have to live on this isolated island? Meantime, the boat had finished its mooring. A small plank was lowered so that we could get down. One by one, our parents came from inside the boat. You must all be quite tired from your long trip. Madam, please allow me to assist you. Thank you. It's been a while. Goda-san, how are you? I thank you for your concern. It's always my pleasure to serve. Battler-kun, isn't this your first time meeting Goda-san? If I'm not mistaken, you weren't working here 6 years ago, right? Indeed, so please allow me to greet him for the first time. Honored to meet you, Battler-sama. I'm pretty confident about my height, but you're huge. It's definitely a first time meeting. Never forget meeting a big guy like you. It's a pleasure. I'm Battler. I was looking forward to meeting you. I'm Goda. This is Goda, your servant, and I've been working at the Ushiromiya head family since the year before last. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Anything you need, please feel free to rely on me anytime. Goda-san, it's been some time. It's been too long, George-sama. Please allow me to assist you. Usually you're a pro at welcoming guests. If you ever need a job, just let me know, okay? Hire you anytime. You do me too much honor. Please allow me to assist you, Hideyoshi-sama. No bulk subbing. Goda-san then lent a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of a professional. He was very graceful in contrast with his initially tough-looking appearance. His large size made him seem a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than my first impression had led me to believe. I mean, if you do subscribe in advance, well, first of all, don't do that. The only good thing for you is, I assume it would save you from when Twitch will inevitably up the prices of everything. After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. It's probably returning to its home port on Nijima. The captain waved his hand farewell. Maria conscientiously waved her hand back. Now that I think about it, that must be why I've felt something's out of place for a while now. I can't hear the cries of the seagulls. Seagulls? The birds? If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls have always greeted us with their lively nya nya cries. Apparently seagulls just sound like cats, but without... You swap an N for an A and then you have a seagull. Because of that, whenever I hear the cries of seagulls anywhere, I get the feeling that I'm coming to a family conference. Except for the small part of the island where those of the Ushiromiya head family live, Rokujima has been left uncultivated, which apparently makes it a paradise for wild birds. Supposedly there was a cliff somewhere that housed a huge seagull colony, so this island was always full of seagulls. Not having those seagulls here to greet me made me feel a bit lonely. What's wrong, Battler-kun? Oh, Aunt Rosa. It's nothing. I was just thinking it's a bit lonely without the cries of the seagulls. Why, that's true now that you mention it. Even though they're always so noisy, today there isn't one to be seen. Why no seagulls? It's because the seagulls are having a get-together somewhere too. Maria, did you want to see the seagulls? Wanted to see them. Still, it's a bit strange that there isn't even a single one around. Maybe just I could grill them all and ate them. Hell, don't say disturbing stuff like that. Get Maria believing it. Ooh, Jessica and H-chan grilled him. Jessica and H-chan grilled him. I did not. Why the hell would I do something like that? That's right. Jessica grilled him. Skin and meatballs, liver and onion. Swimming in meatballs, liver and onion. As I made fun of Jessica, Maria tagged along, looking like she was having fun. Never guessed she was such a good sport. Alrighty then, from today I'll make you my #1 follower. I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed, possibly because she was happy with this little connection we'd made with each other. That's not it, Marie-chan. I've heard wild birds are attuned to changes in the weather and atmospheric pressure. The weather will probably get worse tonight. Seagulls might have returned to their nests early. Not grilled? Jessica Oni-chan didn't grill them? No, I wouldn't do something like that. Battler, you admit right now that you lied. Battler-kun. Marie-chan is a naive girl, so she takes even jokes seriously. You should choose your jokes more carefully. George Aniki gently scolded me. Even though I outstripped Aniki in height, Aniki was Aniki, of course. There's no choice but to obediently apologize. Sure, my bad. Maria, that was a joke. Seagulls are taking it easy on their nests today, that's all. Battler lied. George Oni-chan told the truth. Had she actually been tricked despite all the fun she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe I went a little overboard with her after all. Yeah, that's right. George Aniki said it's true. The weather's so bad they probably went home for the day. Doesn't mean they're gone. Right, Aunt Rosa? That's right. Tomorrow when the weather gets better, I'm sure they'll come back so we can hear them cry meow, meow, like they always do. I'll wait until the weather gets better and they come back. Gonna wait until tomorrow. Gonna wait until the weather's better. Marie was in a lighter mood. I was looking forward to tomorrow when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. Still, Georgia Aniki really was amazing at taking care of kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well when I was a brat 6 years ago. Aniki, that's probably your gift. George-kun is amazing at taking care of young kids. If you want to, I bet you do great with a job in childcare, don't you think? It's almost like George Oni-san was born to do something like that. Personally, I think that'd suit you better than doing business in some company president's office. Oh no, childcare is a fine career path, but it's not a job where merely liking children is enough. You really are modest, George-kun, but Battler-kun is quite good with children too. Just a second ago, even though it didn't last long, Maria seemed to be having a lot of fun. Just keep on playing with her like you just did now. Just choose your jokes more carefully, okay? Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself, who's happy to see Maria having fun. Come on, Rosa, and you brats too, what the hell are you doing? Let's get going. Okay, we're coming. The old bastard was waving for us to hurry up. Yeah, we needed to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms. Now then, everyone, allow me to lead you to the guest house where you'll be spending the night. Please, this way. Goto-san called to everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought up the rear. I hope you're not doing something that's scold-worthy. I mean, yeah. I'm not surprised that they only let you do it that much. I don't like that yet part. Because, I mean, also, if you have, like, a recurring sub, I assume that the recurring sub is still subject to the price changes. So, like, you only have the convenience, right? So probably like the cheapest thing to do if you were going to sub to someone long term would be to buy the 6-month subs at a time. Well, just cancel it. That solves the problem. A serpentine, twisting path led through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem too steep, but personally I'd have been happier if they had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. No doubt they made the path twist on purpose to put on airs of distance and importance. Before long we saw garden-style stone steps. From here on I do have some memories. Go up these and, atop the stone steps we saw a beautiful guest house. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it. Ah, it's as beautiful as ever this year. A real delight for the eyes. So Twitch just doesn't want to take our money right now. There you go. It's a sign. To climbing the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by one. It's just me, or the flowers a little less lively this year. It's probably because it wasn't that hot this summer. I also believe that was a factor. Sadly, this year's blooming is a tad inferior when compared to last year's. Even so, it was a delightful rose garden. I remember that even 6 years ago, huge numbers of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted the people who came to Rokkenjima. Even our parents who came every year couldn't help but give voice to their admiration.
Half of Beardy, have a bit. It ruins my 69 bits, though, so I hope you're happy. I'm wearing a rubber suit, so if you scold me it'll steal your sleep instead of mine. Poppy is a wonderful friend.
I don't know who Poppy is, so I don't know who you're talking to. So if I'm wearing a rubber suit as well, and I scold you, have we just created an infinite scold train, or does it then shove off to Beardy? In fact, it seemed to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memories of 6 years ago. This place is always so amazing. It'd be a wonderful place to have a rose garden. It would be wonderful to have a rose garden like this at home. Give it up. Who do you think would take care of it? Roses are a real pain, bugs and diseases to worry about. Well, from what I've heard, Kirie-Nason takes care of her rose every day and makes sure no bugs get anywhere near it, right? What are you talking about? That's right. In this person's case, the rose goes after the insects, like some nasty carnivorous plant. Oh, so that's what you mean. Come on, Rosa, can't you give that a rest just for today? I put that sort of thing completely behind me. I wonder. Well, you're a womanizer on almost a genetic level. No need to worry, Rosa. When a rose gives you too much trouble, it's always best to snip it at the root. Such frightening talk this is. Guys who are popular with the ladies are always forced to live dangerously. Sure hope I turn out a bit prettier in my next life. Kiyoshi-Nisan. Like I keep saying, it isn't like that at all. Kirie, stop it, you're freaking me out. You made my rose wilt. Maria-chan, look over here. These roses are especially magnificent. Magnificent roses. It smells pretty sweet. Looks like this suits my elegance perfectly. Hey, cut it out. He's gonna imitate you and get hurt by the thorns. She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the rose's scent with an exaggerated gesture. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around I saw Maria imitating my every gesture and George Aniki smiling broadly at us. Hey now, Maria-chan, be careful. Rose thorns can hurt. George Ani-chan, only this rose is strange. Strange? What's wrong? Maria pointed at a single rose. I immediately understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. There wasn't any particular reason. Some roses flourish and others wilt. This is what happens when you go at porn speed. Maria seemed very concerned about the only unhealthy one in the group. Must have made her feel lonely. She feels sad for this rose because it's the only one that isn't healthy? The others are all healthy, but this one's sad. Well, they all bloom and wither at their own paces. I'll bet this one's just starting to wilt early because it got to bloom before any of the others. Yeah, that's right. It probably just bloomed like crazy, fulfilled its duty, and went to sleep. You shouldn't get so worked up about it. It seemed that Maria's pure, sensitive nature was making her feel some emotional pain for the rose that wilted alone. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her. Why is my bot only pulling up sexy things today? Then Marie-chan, why don't you look after this rose until we leave? To which Aniki straightened up and felt around his pocket, and he took out the wrapper from candy he'd been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string, then gently tied it to the rose as a sort of marker. Yeah, it's pretty cute. Let's mark it with this. Later on you can come and give it some water. I'm sure Mr. Rose will be happy. Come, give it water. I think you should give Mr. Rose here a name. I'm sure that'll make it happy and you'll get to know it a little better. A name? A name. Though she still wore her usual sullen face, Maria crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. Verily, she appeared to have been completely pulled out of her slump. Nice going, Aniki. George Neeson has always been really understanding. Can't help but respect him. Yeah, I guess he was just born that way. I've got to start picking up tips. Was this garden just as magnificent when you were all kids? It's only after I stopped living here that it grew so big. Or that the garden was simpler, though I'm still attached to that one. Nissan fiddled with it too much. With that vaguely bad taste of his. I liked it much better before. Eva, you gotta think positive, setting aside how it used to look. Its beauty now is something to be admired. You'll be able to relax a lot better if you look at it that way. I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying that I wanted to see this garden the way it was before, too. Everyone, if you please, I shall guide you to your rooms now. Goda-san called everyone to ask if we were ready, but our hearts had been completely stolen away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year. We didn't pay much attention to him. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had a strict schedule to follow. Besides, our parents were visiting their old home, full of nostalgia. It wasn't like they had to let themselves be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Goda-san continued to wait, smiling wisely, until our parents got tired of the roses and told him to guide us to our rooms. Oh? Hey, if it isn't Kennen-kun, it's been so long, how are you doing? Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. In the direction he was waving was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took off his hat, and bowed his head. Good afternoon. Figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call. He seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Goda-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us. Battler-sama, allow me to introduce you. This is one of the servants of the Ushiromiya head household. Kennen-san, greet our guest. I'm pleased to meet you. I am the servant, Kennen. Yeah, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda-san, who's extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Goda-san urged him in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kennen only cast his eyes downwards. Kennen-san, could you perhaps give them a little more of a greeting? No, because we are furniture. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite, but rather he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in greeting. Well, Kennen-kun's shy and doesn't tend to talk much. He might not be that sociable. Deep down, he's a really good person. Don't get him wrong. You've been working here for 3 years, haven't you? Pretty sure you started a year before Goda-san, right? Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot. Okay then, nice to meet you. I'm Battler. I'm 18. How old are you? He fell silent as though wondering whether or not it was a question that he'd have to answer. Here again, Jessica plowed ahead. If I remember correctly, Kennen's 2 years younger than us, so 16, right? Yes, that's correct. Looked like we'd have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That's probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. I remember that when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. See, 16, huh? It's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have. I'm glad you're about our age. Just be cool and call me Battler. I'll call you Cannon. Thank you very much. The sentiment alone is sufficient, Battler-sama. Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Cannon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at his age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that. Cannon-san, could you perhaps be a little more courteous? Smiling face is also part of a servant's duty. My apologies, I shall make an effort. Ho ho ho. Goto-san, Cannon-kun is trying his best, yes? Looks like he was often warned about being unsociable. Apparently he hadn't approved one bit. Goto-san kept his business smile, but let a small sigh of resignation escape. Well then, I still have work to do. Well, excuse me. Looked like Cannon himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Just then, the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance. What do you think you're doing? Now, clean it up quickly. Goto-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of guests.
Suspicious. Show love 5 meow. Uwu. Meow. It's time for sleeping. Meow. Uwu. Meow.
Thank you, Samuses. Enjoy your sleep. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels, and such, but he looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting some sacks of fertilizer. Are you okay? You're so careless. Here. Lady, you'll dirty your garments. Please, leave this to us. Smooth motion, Goto-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Cannon-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer. You'll dirty your garments? Don't worry, the ones I'm wearing aren't that expensive. Besides, I hate guys who just sit there and make the waitress pick up the fork they dropped at a restaurant. I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course they weren't light, but for me it was a piece of cake. Cannon-kun looked at me, surprised. The face of someone who had never expected to receive help from a guest.
Suspicious. Cheer 1 good night. Miwudu muses. And in case it doesn't say that, Miwu. Tuwu. Sumises.
Don't worry about it. I will take care of everything, so. Don't you worry. I may not look it, but I've got it where it counts. Heh. Cannon looked like he hadn't gone through his own growth spurt. He was stuck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him. It's quite heavy. It's natural that would be difficult for you. Don't worry about it, Cannon-kun. Okay, my time to shine. This makes up for the boat stuff from before, right? Heh, as if this can make up for freaking out like that. Later I'll tell you about it too, Cannon-kun. Eller was totally hilarious. I'm gonna fall! See, Twitch doesn't fix bugs, but they made sure that their uwu was on point. As they did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow. I beg your forgiveness for letting you witness such unsightliness. Come now, that's quite enough. Please go. Letting the guests who are supposed to feel welcome see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goto to hurry up and go, Cannon-kun left. But is he in our... He is. So we're missing 2 servants. Our oldest uncle, their wife, our grandfather, and I guess that's the doctor, maybe? We don't have the doctor yet. You're too harsh on him, Goda-san. Shouldn't you have helped him instead of being a bully? That was wrong of me. I deeply implore your forgiveness. Without even a twitch in his smile, Goda apologized elegantly. Kennen-kun has a ton of things he's good at too, it's just that being young works against him all the time. It's a crying shame. Well, it's a prickly age. Let's just leave him be. After all, closed-mouthed servants are the best kind. Isn't that right, Kuwasama-san? Rudolph-sama, you are truly harsh. There's no servant as silent as me, of course. Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams, so she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa Bachan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile. I'd like to set down our luggage soon, Goda-san. What rooms are we all going to take? Do the same as previous year. Allow me to guide you.
Yeah.
Please, this way. We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. It's going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Oh no. Kennen watched overhead as the guests all entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him. The sacks Kennen couldn't lift himself. As if they were feathers. Okay, sounds good. I will ignore. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Kennen. As far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. Those words he murmured were so soft that they didn't reach even his own ears. Even I. Kennen hung his head, lightly biting his lower lip.
Suspicious.
CHER1 bagpipes go. BNNNRRRRRRRRRRRRR. Far far PHNANYARNYAR far far minor nar NA nar near 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 minor near NA near nar near naf near nar NANRRRRRRRRM.
You know, I can actually understand what it was going for. Did it sound like bagpipes? No, but it kind of sounds like if we turned bagpipes into an onomatopoeia. I remember the Rose Garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Torian Visitors Retreat was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design, carefully done in harmony with the garden.
Oh yeah.
Correct. It was built the year before last. Ever since then, they've had us sleep over here. Yeah, this place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. Wish my room was over here. I want a room here too. I want one. Guess you could say my house was upper class, but to me it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they built this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year. Iba-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, please do make use of this room. Rudolph-sama, Kirie-sama, please take this room here. I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful. I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that, you need the good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax better in tatami mats. When fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about Dad having the construction started with a Japanese layout, and they bicker all the time about it. I'm really jealous, George and Nissan. Your parents get along well, don't they? Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades. All the rooms seem to be for two people. I was grateful, since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that we were family. Anyway, I figured that those two wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around. So with that creepy smile, you're thinking about something dirty, aren't you? Sus pipes. I mean, I guess you could try it like auto-tuning. Somehow I feel like I'm gonna get a new song at some point then. Something dirty? Of course not. Please enjoy your stay. Ow. It hurt, you old bastard. Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Cut the crap. I'm getting a stomachache and I'm not in the mood for this. You're the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad and Aniki and the rest. Or at least be careful what you say in front of Dad, got it? Wise cracks don't go too well with him. Jessica-chan, what's the head's mood been like lately? Same as last year, I guess. Considering they say he's got 3 months left to live, he's as lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever. Meaning this year he'll be in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only one who's able to look after him is Genji-san. Seems the master will open his heart to no one else. Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He shut himself up in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. He does for hobby his own damn business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it really gets on my nerves. Wish he'd never come out of that study again. Shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted to him since he rebuilt the Ushiromiya family. Be more grateful. Well, sorry. After being rebuked by George Aniki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Ushiromiya family was wealthy beyond belief. Of course, that meant all its members were a bit strange, completely out of touch with the world at large. Top of that chain, the family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren who could play around and laugh without a care. In the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. He was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even his grandkids had to suffer. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with the sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. My dad said about him being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. Backed up, things can get serious. Ooh, scary. He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. He may be clumsy at talking. He's a very logical person. George Nissan, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely differently. You even gotten slapped with a wooden sword on my ass, on my maidenly innocent ass. Well, you're the heiress of the family, Jessica-chan. Grandfather's giving you special attention. Gotta realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you. Oh, come on. Seriously, I could just turn the succession over to you, George Nissan. It's a bit of a heavy burden for me to carry. I think I've already said it once, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins in branch families, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do. Skoni-chan, is that heavy? If I help hold it, will it get lighter? Thanks. It's okay, I'm not going to push it on you, Maria. I'm going to bear this cross until my grave, don't worry. She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of that uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Battler-kun, I heard you're going to be with me in this room here. Oh, there's a surprise. It's bigger than our parents' rooms. Dang. Figured us cousins would want to hang out together, so I told them to get a bigger room ready. I like it here more too. I'd rather be here than with Mama. I like it better here too, Maria. Okay, this room is George and mine, but we'll give you special permission to enter. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay? It's a secret. Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fists clenched tight. No, you gotta hurry up and sleep. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. What are you brats planning to do? Cousins just gonna stay here and chat? It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. So normally they'd make us follow them and greet everyone together. If that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come and that'd be the end of that. He's saying it's okay if we don't come. So what'll we do? It's gonna be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worse comes to worse, this might be their last chance to play outdoors. I'll go too. Maria, you house sit for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here. Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on her own. George Anarchy noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all of his cousins. Well then, we'll accept your offer and house sit. We've got lots of stories to tell each other after being away for a year. Sounds wonderful. Battler-kun has 6 years worth of stories to tell, doesn't he? Yeah, I'll take care of the house like a good boy. Kumasawa-san, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest to the adults. Perhaps that would be best. I'll report it to the madam. Allow me to guide you all to the mansion. This way, please. The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us? Make him come, then poor George will be the only one out of place. Interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, see y'all later. The adults left one after the other. They left in the same formation as their trip from the harbor, with Goda leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to his cousins, George Anarchy asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her for something. He soon finished his business and came back. What's up, Anarchy? Oh, nothing. I just wanted to ask her something. Tell me too. What could George Nisan be asking Kumasawa-san and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue. No, it's a misunderstanding. Not that I know what you're misunderstanding. Anarchy was getting pretty tongue-tied. It's almost as though he felt guilty about something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it, and not me. It looks like we're the only two out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about? Want to know too. Fooled around while oohing together with Maria. No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal. Liar, I'm surprised you tell such a terrible lie, Anarchy. Confess. Maria, you tickle his right side, I'll tickle his left. About his right side, Battler got his left. Wait a second, wait you two. Stop. Maria and I played around chasing George Anarchy as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. I realize high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun. George Nisan, what were you asking Kumasawa-san? I've got a good guess. It's been years since the last time we visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time. But it looks like he'd like to go and say hi. Say hi? I want to say hi too. The hell, that's nothing to feel guilty about, Anarchy. I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled, Anarchy's still hiding something. More torture. Stop it, seriously. Maria-chan, you two, stop already. She's probably busy cleaning or getting lunch ready. Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. I'll bet you'd rather be welcomed in by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda. Shannon? Shannon? Ah, yeah, I remember a girl with that name. She's still a servant? How's she doing? By the way, Natsuhine-san, how's your headache been lately? It seemed pretty serious before. I saw your messages, Samus. I definitely won't ignore it, Uwu. It seemed pretty serious before. I've been much better lately. Thank you for your concern. Alright, here. Present for you, Natsuhine-san. Thank you very much. I'm always receiving gifts from you. Is this black tea? It's herb tea with peppermint and lemon balm. It's a blend from a well-known store and it's supposed to be good for headaches. I thought it might help you too. Rosa was always a conscientious woman. Probably because she knew she was the youngest of four, much younger than the other three. She managed to grow without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got Natsuhi to soften her expression for just a moment, but it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress. Come to think of it, you're always complaining about those headaches. Pull yourself together. Jessica-chan has her exams this year, right? It's going to be a turning point in her life. Will she really be able to rely on you as a mother if you're like that? Besides, Natsuhine-san, you're 3 years younger than me, right? You should get your act together. I apologize. I've had a tendency for headaches all my life. Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully. Her comments aimed at Natsuhi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsuhi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretend to ignore Eva. Our battler Kun will have his exams this year too. Rudolph-san, shouldn't you be a little concerned as well? For the sake of your own son, you better get serious to the point of having headaches like Natsuhine-san. If I say anything, he automatically rebels. What should I say? Should I say the opposite, that it's okay for him to mess around? It's probably the only way I could get him to listen to me. Yoshimi-san, George did really well on his exams, right? Please, you gotta teach me the trick to handling children. Well, it's probably because I got him to understand why he should study. Study isn't worth anything on its own. That's right, the real point of studying is to practice research and stuff on your own whenever you bump into something you don't know. You can't do that, you can't be useful to society. I'm not talking about math or writing, you gotta learn how to learn. That's splendid. I wish our Jessica could understand that as well. See, you don't have good tea, so you're not useful to society, because society is a tea, so you have to have good tea. If she's to be the heiress of the Ushiromiya family, then at this rate, you really have to force her into becoming the successor? After all, a woman has to find a woman's happiness. Parents shouldn't force such things on their children, don't you think? I always like more herbal teas, like I like a peppermint or like a herbal lemon tea. Those are my favorites usually. Hold your horses, Eva. Each family has its own way of raising their kids. You shouldn't be pushy. I'm sorry. Natsuhine-san, don't take it the wrong way. With the light shining in through the window was quite warm. Despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which is probably causing headaches from more than just Natsuhi. As if to sweep away that mood, Kirie brightly made a suggestion to all present. So this black tea's a really lovely aroma. Let's drink it right away. In Japan, surely you couldn't find something like Leopold's black tea anywhere but Ginza, right? So you know a lot about it, Kirie-san. I guess it was worth going to the trouble of buying it. Kirie and Rosa stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea. But Natsuhi forestalled them. Thank you both, but we can try that later. One of our people will be coming to bring some tea, so please relax. Leave it for later, E.T. Let's enjoy our welcome drink. Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kirie and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. The initial greetings of the guest was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. Yeah. I can be fine with a black tea. Probably the ones that I'm not as big of a fan of are like things that have more spice to it, like a chai, something like that, or probably ones I like a bit less. Black tea can be fine. I had black tea earlier this week, I believe. Maybe it was late last week. The initial greeting, and it was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests are talking about making tea themselves. Sui bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Eva immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsui gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. "Excuse me, your tea is ready." "Shannon-chan, it's been a while. Getting prettier every time I see you." "Oh, thanks. Save the chatting for after you've set the table. The tea will get cold." "I apologize, madam." She apologized like a small, frightened animal, bumping against the serving cart, and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Clumsiness made Natsuhi's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more. "Come on, Natsuhi-ne-san. Nothing wrong with her exchanging a few words in greeting. Tea must be plenty cold already, considering how long we've been kept waiting." "There's no need to worry. It's not cold yet." Shannon finished setting the table quickly. "I'm sorry, madam." Natsuhi's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant, everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsuhi's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Ushiromiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, day of all days was surely nothing less than total humiliation. Lay off, Natsuhi-ne-san. Don't you think it's a little harsh to bully Shannon-chan when she's trying her best? I'm not bullying anyone. What a nice aroma. May I ask what brand this is? I'm terribly sorry. I'll find out for you later. Kiri was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself, instead darkening Natsuhi's face in the room's mood. At this point, Eva was audibly giggling. "What's this? Shannon-chan, you don't even know what you're pouring us? Come on now, you mustn't serve something so suspicious to guess. We'll need a silver spoon at the very least before we can drink this." "I'm sorry, I'll go get one immediately." "Shannon-chan, don't you know what silver spoons are used for? They have to be silver. Don't you know why?" "No, A teasing smile rose to Eva's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Eve's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Eva's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help. "Say if silver is touched by poison, it darkens. Guess you've learned something today, Shannon-chan." They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it can be drunk. In Sui's eyes, this was an insult both to the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulder. "Silver cutlery wouldn't do any good for you, Aniki. Wouldn't look of your poisonous tongue, and even a silver plate would turn pitch black. Since I get to hear that poison tongue every day, I must be poison-proof myself by now. Eva, I don't mind the use on me, but you better hold back when talking to people who haven't built up a resistance." My, how cruel. All I did was teach Shannon-chan a bit about tea, didn't I? Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckle, though not easily. Only Natsuhi didn't join in, but for the time being the conversation inside the parlor can now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table and tried to leave, Kyrie apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a slight bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eyes downward as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she's been bullied in some way. Don't be sad, you didn't do anything wrong, Nae-san. You were watching. That is my role. Adam and Eva Sama can go to hell. The worst coward is that guy. Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. Preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a shelf like Goda would give up a flashy job like bringing in tea when guests had arrived. He'd end up wasting time preparing the tea once again. When he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for the job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt it was a cowardly one. It's okay, Kennen-kun. Thanks. Not bothered by it at all. Kennen's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt. Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better. Keep your feelings too bottled up, Nae-san. Be less hard on yourself for once. Yeah, thanks. Suddenly they both felt someone's presence in the world around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant. What are you doing there? Shannon hurried back to the kitchen. Yes, if you'll excuse me. Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Cannon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words. What is it? Did something happen? Shannon didn't do anything wrong, but even so they... Stop it, Kennen-kun. Please excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Kennen-kun, you should go back to your post too, please. You say so, Nae-san. That's all, then go. Yes. Excuse me. From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. Poor Shannon-san. Cannon-san. No reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda-san's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda-san was taken in by the Ushiromiya head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he learned there was quite impressive, I believe. Just that Goda-san is the newest servant here. He must have a lot of pride accumulated from his previous positions.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Shannon-san and Kennen-kun are his seniors here at the mansion, and yet are inexperienced and have gone through much less in life than he has, he picks on them every chance he gets. And also, sad as it may be, they are disliked by Madame Natsuhi too. Of course, if we're talking about experience, the Madame has been in this family much longer. Yet, this is one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the Madame as well. Truly, the Master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the Madame such an inferiority complex? Of course, on the inside, even the Madame is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated so harshly. However, the heart has reasons that reason knows not. I feel so sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows. Okay, we got time advancing. I'm guessing we're going to cut back to the cousins. The four of us cousins were enjoying our stories of shooting the breeze. Anyway, there are both girls and guys here, plus we had people over a wide spread of ages, adult, high school, elementary. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively. I think I'm finally getting used to all of this. Jessica and Maria have grown more than I could have imagined in the past 6 years. To be honest, I was feeling a bit uncomfortable, but talking like this, I guess that on the inside nothing's really changed since back then. I agree. You haven't changed a bit even after 6 years. Even though your body's gotten gigantic, you're still a kid inside. I'm a kid too. Well, you aren't going to be a kid forever, are you, Maria? I mean, you're going to transform from a kid into a cute young lady, aren't you? When that happens, that flat as a board chest will reach Jessica's level, huh? That happens, you gotta let me touch. Can we not say this about the child? Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. No, Maria-chan, you can't make that kind of promise. That's bad, bad, bad. Maria, no, just don't. We really are an earnest good girl. The guy you marry is gonna be really lucky. Stop trying to change the subject by making it sound pretty. That promise never happened. Never. Promises cancelled? So I thought without Battler-kun and our little quartet, this group of cousins just didn't feel complete. The 6 years have been kind of lonely. It's true. We didn't really goof off like this. Still, we did have some pretty constructive conversations, right? Stuff about preparing for a future, exam taking, finding jobs. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now that I'm here, we just talk about stupid stuff and mess around. I'm having more fun this year. It's true. Agree this year's the most fun yet. Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George Aniki stroked Maria's head as she giggled like a happy kitten. Pardon me. Your meal is ready. Timid knocking sound and the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door. Jessica answered brightly. Shannon, come in. You remember Battler, right? Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must have been about our age. It's been quite some time since we last met, Battler-sama. It's nice to see you after 6 years. Me, Shannon. Trembling a little as she noticed me, she bowed deeply. Jessica had me surprised, but look at you, Shannon-chan. Turned into a total beauty too, haven't you? You are too kind. Still, the food in this island must be really nutritional, huh? What are you eating and how are you training your boobs that big? Guess I'll have to feel them a bit to see whether yours or Jessica's are bigger, okay? With both hands poised and saliva dribbling from my mouth, I closed in. For the sake of justice and my personal honor, I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that make my lymph nodes itch until I scratch my neck open. That's a Higurashi reference. I'm hoping the girls kill him in about 0.2 seconds. Which can only be prevented by fondling breasts. This is just a Battler-style method of communication. If I slowly close in on her like this, odds are 8 or 9 out of 10 that I get slapped or clobbered, right? So I can use this Battler-sama original technique to spark a gag like that and break the ice. Well, it also means I really do get to touch them on that 1 in 10 chance though, right? Like that'd ever happen. At that point, my hands were less than a centimeter away from Shannon-chan's boobs, but the counter-strike had yet to come. She blushed and lowered her head in embarrassment when she realized what was going on, but she just stood there with both hands politely joined in front of her, not even trying to resist or cover her breasts. Hey, I wasn't planning on this. Please hit me right now, or I'm seriously gonna... Which is why I'm glad that Jessica chose that time to drive her elbow into the back of my head. Ow, thank you so much, Jessica. Why the hell are you thanking me? Seriously, my bad, Shannon-chan. I almost got overwhelmed by your hypnotic chest. More importantly, anyone who gets that close has got to be a molester. You've got to fight back when people do that. But you are an important guest, Battler-sama. Now look here, a perv's a perv whether he's a guest or not. The girl's chest has got an air defense identification range of about 10 centimeters or so. When someone trespasses within 2 centimeters, that's already an invasion of airspace. You better scramble the jets immediately and give them an instant slap. I couldn't do such a thing. Besides, we are, furniture. Of course she didn't want her breasts touched, but if a guest so desired, she was prepared to sacrifice herself to suit their wants. A girl like this needs some urgent protection. I think such devoted girls still exist in this era. It's enough to make a man dizzy, but no. No, I'm coming at you with a perverted face again. Knock me down. This gag can't end until you deliver the punchline, so slap me, please, hit me. I cannot fulfill your request because I'm furniture, but for an order I'd obey you, because that is my duty. And I'll make it an order. Next time a battler tries to touch your breast, counterattack with a slap. Got it? Yes, as you wish. From now on, that's what I'll do. Please understand, Battler-sama.
What is this guy's
Yeah,
fixation on the boobs?
Yeah, you missed the part where he was asking the child, and I was just like, no, we're skipping this part.
The child?
The little girl who's like 9. He's like, yeah, when you grow up, promise me you'll let me touch your boobs. And I'm like, no, we're not discussing this.
We are cousins!
Mm-hmm. Actually, how many... I'm surprised she isn't part of the... We've met most of the people now, even if they aren't in the little list. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her I was fine with that. 6 years ago, you might have been mistaken for a servant's daughter who lends a hand at your parents' work. But now you're a full-fledged adult servant. How long have you been working here? Well, I've had the pleasure of serving this household for about 10 years. She's... this. The kanji for her name I read is Shannon. There's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now, though, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something? So that might explain her name so similar to Kanon-kun, a kid I met earlier in the Rose Garden. She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old.
How? She was a servant when she was 6?
Apparently. I don't know what you do with a 6-year-old servant. What you can do, and, like, would understand. I couldn't match her to the person of my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. That shy part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure you'd expect of a girl her age. Can we skip her breasts, please? That would be great. The kid we met earlier, Kanon-kun, is her little brother. He's not exactly my little brother. Still, he loves me like a big sister. He didn't cause you any trouble, did he? Ha! He's the same as always. Only you were just a bit more sociable. I apologize if he's caused you any trouble. I didn't cause any trouble at all. As a fellow man, I understand how moody you get at his age. No surprise he's unsociable. I get called that all the time, too. I get called unsociable, just like Kanon.
He wouldn't fixate on people's breasts. That would probably help.
You aren't unsociable at all, Maria-sama. Wanted to be like him? Said the meal was ready, right? Ah, yes, I'm sorry. Your meal has been fully prepared. Allow me to guide you all to the mansion. Shannon bowed again formally and returned to her duty mode. You realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further. So, shall we all go to the mansion? Everyone's probably hungry, right? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Goda-san's food. I was apparently a chef at this famous hotel, so he's super good at cooking. Ooh, I can't wait. Let's go, Maria. And stuff ourselves like pigs. Stuff ourselves. No, you can't take everything Battler-kun says seriously, okay? Because he's always just joking around. Okay, let's go. Under Shannon Chen's guidance, we headed towards the mansion. Meeting once again by the magnificent Rose Garden, we continued onward as the intimidating mansion of the Ushiromiya head family came into view. It had apparently been built shortly after the war, so you could feel the dignity of almost a half-century hanging about it. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but old as it was, equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough, what with all the drafts. Haven't these people ever heard of a kotatsu? I think we will stop there and we'll leave entering the mansion to next time.